If the New Testament were written long after the events it describes, legends would be unavoidable. That is how myths form. Time passes, eyewitnesses die, stories grow. But that is not what we see with the Bible. The New Testament documents were written far too early for legend to take over. Most scholars date the Gospels and letters to within a few decades of Jesus' life. Some of Paul's letters are dated to the early AD 50s, less than 20 years after the crucifixion. That is not legend territory. That is eyewitness territory. Paul even preserves an early Christian creed in 1 Corinthians 15, a summary of Jesus' death and resurrection that scholars date to within just a few years of the events themselves. This creed lists named eyewitnesses, many of whom were still alive when it was circulating. That matters. You cannot easily invent public miracles, a public execution, or an empty tomb when the people who saw it are still around. The writers also anchor their accounts to real history. They name rulers like Pontius Pilate and Herod. They reference known cities, festivals, and political events that can be checked against external sources. Luke even opens his gospel by explaining that he carefully investigated eyewitness testimony and sources, not rumors or hearsay. And notice what they include. The disciples misunderstand Jesus. They abandon him. Peter denies him. Women are recorded as the first witnesses to the resurrection, despite their testimony carrying little weight in that culture. Legends polish heroes. Eyewitness accounts preserve embarrassing details. And here is the key point. These writings were circulating early, widely, and publicly. Among friends, among enemies, among people who could have exposed falsehoods immediately. If the story were invented, it would not have survived contact with eyewitnesses who knew the truth. So the question is not whether the New Testament had time to become legend. The question is how a false story survived the people who were there to say it never happened. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.